All right, now it's time for Grace's News.
Hello, Howard. I am here to deliver the news of the day. I wanted to tell you this story that just came out. Representative Elise Stefanik says Harvard ousted her to please the woke left. Did you hear this yet, Howie?
No, I haven't heard this one.
New York Republican and, a star of the Republican Party, especially in the last year, Representative Elise Stefanik is accusing her alma mater, Harvard University, of caving to the woke left after the school's Institute of Politics on Tuesday dropped her from an advisory committee, citing her public remarks about fraud in the 2020 election.
Really? Wow.
Was Hillary Clinton dropped from anything when she kept citing, Russian interference that never came to be?
No. Yeah, how about any of these people? I keep repeating this because I work for a newspaper. When are the Washington Post and the New York Times going to give back their Pulitzer Prize for their deeply sourced reporting in their own words about a hoax? Russian collusion.
Never. They'll never give it back, Howie. Congratulations, Harvard. The entire board of the Institute of Politics now consists only of Joe Biden voters. How reflective of America, Stefanik said in a statement. As a conservative Republican, it is a rite of passage and badge of honor to join a long line of leaders who have been boycotted, protested, and canceled by colleges across America. Howie Carr, this is your introduction to tell your story about how you were protested at Harvard, nonetheless.
Yeah, when I taught my 5-week course at Camelot High, also known as the Kennedy School of Government, the Institute of Politics, it's called. It was a even lower rent spinoff from Harvard than the JFK School of Government. It was a spinoff from a spinoff. And I was teaching there for 5 weeks. And so the students decided to welcome me to the campus by throwing up a picket line. I had to cross a picket line to get to my own class.
And what year was this?
It was the late 1980s.
Oh my God. Can you imagine what they do now? That was like
they would execute me, as the terrorists in Troy, New Hampshire would say. They would try to.
Oh my gosh. But speaking of cancel culture, Forbes op-ed warns companies about hiring people from the Trump administration.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday, I think. It's I said, what is Steve Forbes doing now? He ran for president as kind of a libertarian, pro-free economy type guy. But, apparently they've sold the majority of the company to quote unquote Asian investors. You know what that sometimes means, Grace?
No, tell us.
It sometimes means that it's people who have they don't like Jack Ma, let's put it that way. They don't like Hong Kong. They don't like the Uyghurs. I don't know who they are, but they are Asian investors.
Well, it's just interesting because Joe Biden has kept saying he wants unity, and the left has said, we need to make America again for the last 4 years, and now they've won. And so you think they'd, take the foot off the pedal as far as it comes to canceling people and doxing people and ruining people's lives because of their political beliefs, but they're more set in their ways than ever. They're more motivated than ever before, Howie.
Yeah, they are. It's really something. I'm going to read something tonight. I didn't have time to read it this afternoon, doing my column and get ready for the show. But I got a long piece about Robespierre, the architect of the Reign of Terror in France back way more than 200 years ago. And, you read about his beliefs and how doctrinaire he was and how he had no qualms whatsoever about destroying people's lives, right up to and including chopping off their heads on the guillotine. And he really doesn't strike me as that different from a lot of these people who are trying to engage in high-tech lynchings of anybody that they disagree with, including people who haven't done anything.
Right. No, I totally agree. There's a lot of people who it's just, they're so angry and they're so hateful and they love finding people and doxing them and telling their employers to fire them. It's really sick. Grace's News is brought to you by Tux Trucks GMC out of Hudson, Mass. Check out tuxtrucksgmc.com. It's getting chillier and chillier. There's going to be more and more snow. Tux Trucks and Fisher have plows for UTVs, for tractors, and skid steers. There's new Steelcaster spreader, the popular Polycaster spreader. And for light-duty pickup and smaller jobs, check out the Speedcaster spreader. You can see all of these on their YouTube channel and check them out at tuxtrucksgmc.com. Get yourself a Fisher. You don't even have to put it together. You just drive off the lot with it. It's amazing. Howie, did you see Elon Musk's response to big tech deplatforming Donald Trump?
No, what did he say?
He said, he tweeted, "A lot of people are going to be super unhappy with West Coast high tech as the de facto arbiter of free speech."
You think so? You think so? I thought he was going to say something, and I was going to have a snarky remark saying, well, you were able to escape California to go to Texas because you were fed up with it. But, where are you going to go if they ban you from Twitter? But apparently he's got the right take on it, right?
No, he's a smart guy. I mean, Musk previously railed against big tech censorship in June after he called out Amazon for reportedly censoring the publication of a book about coronavirus. He said at the time that it was time to break up Amazon, adding that monopolies are wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's good.
Yeah, no, it is good. And in other news, which I'm sure you're going to get to later today, Bill Belichick will not be accepting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. No surprise there, Howie. I mean, you kind of knew he wasn't going to. And also, I didn't get to break this in my show, Howie, but you might have already said it on yours. The PBS guy who's in trouble because of Project Veritas.
Yes.
He's been fired.
That's good. That's really
Michael
good.
Beller, who said things like, Howie, did you read the funniest quote? I feel like you would love this one too. He mentions how dumb Americans are.
I know. I love this. I heard your show today, Grace, and that he's saying that he's lucky he lives in a place that's full of smart people like Washington, D.C.
How elitist can you get with this quote? He says, Americans are so bleeping dumb. Most people are dumb. It's so good to live in a place, Washington, D.C., where people are educated and know stuff. Could you imagine if you lived in one of those other towns or cities where everybody's just stupid? Could you imagine?
I never liked D.C. Never liked it. When my daughter Charlotte lived in D.C. for a while, I was happy when she moved back to where she went to college, which is Dallas, Texas. I don't like that. Where it's basically a parasitical community. They're
Right.
living off the goods and services that are generated by the productive parts of the United States of America, which is just about everywhere except for the Washington, D.C. And yet they're doing so handsomely that 7 out of the 10 most affluent counties in the United States are in that Beltway area.
But how, what else is funny is you're totally right. They're living off of, middle America who can actually produce goods and make the world go round, but they have such contempt for them. They hate them so much.
Well, it's like Strzok said, Peter Strzok. He could smell the Trump voters at the Walmart in Tidewater, Virginia. That's what a snob he is.
That could be a poll question. What do liberal elites hate more, smelling Trump supporters in Walmart or seeing Trump supporters at Olive Garden?
I can't believe the guy's been fired.
Oh, yeah, that came out today.
Because Steve Scally's getting his job back at C-SPAN. That's the guy who wrote all the crap about how much he hated Trump, and he wanted to figure out a way to screw Trump at the second debate. And they just suspended him or gave him administrative leave for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And now he's coming back.
Excuse me, Howard. I'm not going to let that stand what you just said. He actually was the man who was tragically hacked on his Twitter account. And when he was hacked, the hacker, the time-traveling hacker, wrote to Anthony Scaramucci about Donald Trump. And that's what happened, sir.
Yes, I understand that. But, being a CNN deep state former aide to Joe Biden, C-SPAN working for his entire career, hack, he was a member of many protected classes, but not as many protected classes as Joy Reid, who got away with that story. He didn't quite get away. He had to pay a small price. It's like getting a fine for an overdue library book.
I mean, you know what's funny, Howie, is you really look back on that, and I know it wasn't that long ago. It was during the election where that happened, and it feels like such simpler times, doesn't it? Where Steve Scully was getting hacked and tweeting at Anthony Scaramucci. That was a great news story. It really brought a smile to my face.
Grace, how many places have you read about this guy Steve Scally coming back? I mean, it's like it's down the black hole where Don Lemone's Malaysian airliner went. Nobody talks about it. Nobody writes about it. Nobody mentions it on the air.
I would like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not. Howie, thank you so much for having me on the show. Everyone, make sure you check out Grace Curley's show before Howie's show from 12 to 3 every day. And I'm off, Howie, but have a wonderful rest of the show.
I shall. Thank you, Grace. That's Grace's news. My friends at Eden Pure are extending their New Year's sale, but you need to act while you can still get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word Howie, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. Supplies are limited, so this sale won't last much longer. The Thunderstorm, I've got it in my hand right now, is a small device you can hold in your hand as I'm doing, plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell in your basement. No filters are needed. I've seen much more expensive comparable units in the doctor's office and have asked myself, why didn't they order the Thunderstorm?
It's crazy the prices those other ones go for. And this is so cheap compared to that and does just as good, if not better, a job than those big units that are clunky. You got to plug them into the wall. There's a cord running across the floor. You got to try to hide that. This plugs right into the wall, and you can pretty much hide it anywhere there's an outlet.
Dr. Matt's son had a smelly cat, so he got a Thunderstorm for his son, and Dr. Matt tells us, our house vet, that the smell is gone. It took care of it. And anyone who knows anything about smelly cats, it's Dr. Matt and smelly dogs. Take advantage of this extended sale and experience for yourself what all the listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
When Howie's on, every radio is a magic radio.